Hey everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about how 90+% of guys are wasting their time in the gym doing the wrong things. Doing what is essentially the mini golf version of strength training, and what you should be doing instead to make the best use of your time in the gym. When people take on a new endeavor, it's tempting and somewhat natural to want to dip your toe in the water and take on the light version of that sport or activity. But at the same time, there's that desire to play with the big boys, so to speak. Now, I want to use a couple of different sports as comparison and an analogy for what I see people doing in the gym. So, for a moment, I want you to imagine that you are taking up basketball. You go buy yourself a new ball at the sporting goods store. You bring it home, you call up your buddy. You say, let's head down to the court and shoot some ball. He says, great, let's go. So you grab your basketball, you put on your shoes, you head down to the court. And you get there and you think you're going to, dribble, play some one-on-one, shoot some three-pointers, practice some layups. But instead, the two of you sit down on the ground, open up your legs, spread wide, and roll the ball back and forth to each other across the pavement. Kind of embarrassing, isn't it? But this is the equivalent of what I see 90+% of guys doing in the gym, especially when they start. In chapter 1 of my ebook, The 8 Iron Rules of Strength Training, which I'm going to link down below so you can grab your free copy of that, I say to get under the bar as soon as possible. Meaning don't waste your time in the mini golf course of the gym sitting on machines and isolating a single body part, or grabbing a handle that's hanging from a cable on a pulley and straighten your arms 20 times. Now, as far as machines go, I can certainly understand the appeal of something like the leg press, where you can load up the plates, sit down nice and comfortable, and push a ton of weight. But for the most part, these machines, these cables, these pulleys, this is kid stuff. You wouldn't start playing football using a Nerf ball. You wouldn't take up golf with a set of clubs that say Fisher-Price on the side. You want to get a real pigskin. You want to throw a nice tight spiral. If you're going to go golfing, you might head over to the golf pro shop and get sized up for a set of clubs, and then head down to the course and tee up and pull out your number 1 wood and drive the ball right down the middle of the fairway. So all of these activities are ones that, while people may start small and learn, they at least shoot for the adult version of the sport. But for some reason, much to my chagrin, strength training, weightlifting, working out, joining a gym is the one activity where almost everyone consistently aims low. Here's a quote from my ebook. Training with free weights, barbells, dumbbells, and kettlebells are going to be exponentially more beneficial in terms of building muscle and strength, and will give you the greatest return on investment in the gym. When you join a gym, the best thing you can do is take the time to learn to lift. Now remember, we are not starting with lifts, and we are certainly not starting with heavy lifts. We are starting with positions. We are starting with movements. Now, going back to our golf and football analogies. When you golf, you don't just grab a club and start hacking away. You take the time to learn how to grip. You learn how to stand. You learn how to swing. You take practice swings. Your first few strokes might be ugly, but that's okay. If you're playing football, you learn how to grip the ball. You learn where to put your feet. You learn a proper release point for throwing a spiral. You might also throw a pass that resembles a wounded duck, but that too is okay. Because it might not be pretty right away, doesn't mean that you stick to the kids' version, doesn't mean that you stick to mini golf when you're golfing, doesn't mean that you toss the ball underhand when you're playing football, because God forbid you embarrass yourself. My challenge to you is to aim higher. Man up, play with the big boys. One thing I really remembered, I'm a big football fan, I remember when Bill Parcells took over the Cowboys and started coaching them. The first thing he said to the team was, get your expectations up. So what he did was demand better from them. He demanded that they expect better from themselves. Now, I remember when I was 17 and I had spent a couple of years cutting my teeth in a home gym in the basement, and I joined my first gym. A friend of mine took me with him, and he had been attending that gym for a few months. And I remember he and I doing set after set of preacher curls, because I my goal that I had in mind at that time was having the biggest arms in my high school. And then we moved from there to leg extensions and leg curls. So sitting on machines, isolating body parts, feeling the burn. And I remember vividly sitting there on a leg extension when 3 absolute mastodons came out of the change room and walked straight past the machines that we were working on, right for the squat rack. I remember these absolute monsters, a weight belt draped over one arm, some chalk in the other hand, some knee wraps folded up in their grip. And I can tell you, they didn't even look at the machines. They were walking in a straight line and certainly didn't have to say excuse me to anyone. They were walking in a straight line to the squat rack, where their only concern was finding one of the good bars to work with and whether or not there were enough 45s to accommodate what was soon going to be a very eye-opening experience for me. So watching these brutes place the bar across their backs which were big enough to show a movie on, and squat rep after rep, loading the bar with plate after plate, showed me that I was wasting my time piddling around with silly bullshit and machines and things that, while they have their place, these things are more icing on the cake. These guys were baking the cake. Just how you're not going to hit the perfect shot off the tee on your first swing, or you're not going to throw the prettiest ball on your first throw, you're not going to squat 3 plates aside on your first rep, nor should you even be attempting something so foolish. You're starting with learning positions. Then you're graduating to movement patterns. You're learning how to grip the bar. You're learning proper bar placement on your back. You're learning about bar path and how to move through a full effective range of motion. You're focusing on quality movement first, then you graduate to adding weight. The nice part is when you focus on the former, the latter just comes. Okay, this is a guarantee that I make to everyone. When you focus on quality movement, the weight will come. Remember this, again, you are not training lifts, you are training movements and positions first. Then you are lifting. The weight will come, and so will the growth and confidence. So I challenge you to aim higher. Get your expectations up. Go play with the big boys. Go play with the brutes. They are very welcoming, I can tell you. I should say we. We are very welcoming. And leave that silly isolation stuff for the physiotherapy clinic. And as a bonus, there's a good chance that when you are focusing on real lifting, you'll very seldom have to wait for a squat rack, whereas you always have to wait for a machine. So if this resonates with you guys and you're looking for some help on your journey, whether you're just getting started in your strength training journey or you've been going to the gym for a while and spinning your wheels, I want to talk to you about my Black Iron Strength program. Okay, I've just built this out and I'm looking for a few guys, a handful of guys that are going to test run this program for me at a reduced rate. Okay, so if that's you, if you are looking to get lean, strong, and fit, stop spinning your wheels at the gym, get into some real training that's going to develop real results and deliver for you what you've been trying to do for years, then get a hold of me below. I'm going to take a handful of guys that are going to test run the program for me at a much reduced rate. Okay, limited spots available for this. So if that's you, get in touch with me down below and we can talk about it. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next time.